Now hush, my child, and lean in close. Let me whisper truth into your weary soul. There is a rhythm to life, a sacred melody written by the hand of the divine. And somewhere along the journey, that rhythm was drowned out by the ticking of clocks, the scratching of pens, and the cold clatter of coins. You began to believe that your worth was tied to a title, that your purpose was hidden in the corner office or found only in a manager's approval. But I am here today, honey, to tell you what God told me. God said, don't look for a job. My dear child, come sit a while under this tree of wisdom, for I have a word to place upon your spirit, warm and wrapped in the velvet voice of truth. I want to talk to you not about what the world has taught, but about what heaven has declared. And when I say this to you, I do not say it lightly. I say it with trembling reverence, with the weight of 1,000 prayers wrapped in the soft hush of a grandmother's voice. You were never made to be simply hired. You were made to be called. Now, there is a mighty difference between those two things. When a man hires you, he is renting your time. He is borrowing your energy for his vision, his plans, his kingdom. But when the Lord of all creation calls you, oh sweet child, he is awakening your soul. He is stirring up the very thing he placed within you before your mother even knew your name. He is not renting you. He's releasing you. You see, a calling is not something you fill out paperwork for. It won't ask for your resume. It does not care for degrees nor titles. Not because they are wrong, but because they are too small to contain the grandeur of your divine design. No, my darling, a calling comes on the wings of silence and settles on your shoulders like a mantle. It shows up in your dreams, in your restlessness, in that fire that burns in your belly when no one else understands why you won't just get a regular job. They don't see the vision because it wasn't theirs to see. God, in his infinite wisdom, did not create you for repetition without revelation. You weren't put on this earth to be a number in someone's ledger or a name tag on someone's shift rotation. No. Beloved, you were created to move mountains, to speak light, to heal the broken, to write the truth, to build with purpose, to pray with thunder, and to walk with the kind of authority that doesn't need a supervisor's approval to shine. You were made to answer heaven's call. I've seen too many souls walking around like ghosts in their own lives. People who gave up their calling because the paycheck seemed safer. But a golden cage is still a cage. And there is no paycheck that can purchase peace. Peace only comes when your soul is aligned with the one who made you. And when you walk in your calling, oh child, that peace will flow like a river, sweet and unending. There will be voices, loud, fearful voices, telling you to stop dreaming, to get in line, to be realistic. And you must listen with the ear of the Spirit, because not every loud voice is wise. Many are simply echoing the fears of their own abandoned callings. But you, child of God, must hold firm to what he whispered in the quiet of your heart. Because heaven speaks in whispers, not shouts, and you must train your soul to hear it. You are not a mistake. You are not a backup plan. You are not, maybe, or you almost. You are divinely crafted with purpose and intention. Your calling is not waiting on the economy. It's not hindered by your past, nor is it delayed by your age. God doesn't need man's permission to move you into your destiny. When he says, go, every door that was locked will open. When he says now, every delay becomes acceleration. Moses was not hired, he was called. A shepherd boy turned deliverer. Esther did not apply. She was called. An orphan girl turned queen. Jesus himself, our beautiful Savior, did not come with ransom or credentials. He came with purpose. And because he walked in that calling, we all now have hope. So I tell you today, with every beat of my heart and every wrinkle in my soul, stop seeking to be hired and start living like you've been called. Walk like it. Speak like it. Wake up in the morning and remind yourself, I am not here to fill a position. I am here to fulfill a purpose. Your gifts, they are not random. Your voice, it was not meant to be silenced. Your dreams, they were not foolish. They are heaven's fingerprints on your life. Don't let the world press them out of you. Don't let fear erase what God has written in bold letters across your destiny. It may not make sense. It may not come with a salary. It may not come with benefits or retirement plans. But baby, when you walk in your calling, heaven itself becomes your employer. The angels move at the sound of your obedience. Doors open without keys. People you've never met will be assigned to bless you. Because purpose draws provision like the sun draws flowers to bloom. And when the storms come, because they will, your calling will anchor you. When people doubt you, because they will, your calling will remind you that you were chosen, not by man, but by God. When you grow tired, because we all do, your calling will be your fire, your reason, your steady song in the midnight hour. So listen now, and hear me deep in your bones. God said don't look for a job, not because work is wrong, but because your life was never meant to be confined to someone else's box. You were meant to build, to blaze trails, to break chains, to birth visions, and to breathe life into dry places. You were meant to walk in your calling. You were meant to change the world. And I believe if you close your eyes and open your heart, you'll hear him say it again. I have called you by name. You are mine. And baby, that's the only confirmation you'll ever need. Child, I want you to sit still for just a moment. Let the noise hush down. Let the worries settle like dust in an old room. And let me speak to that tender place in you that's been aching for truth. You've been out there looking for stability, for something that will hold steady when everything else shakes. You've been thinking if you could just get the right job, the right salary, the right title, then the storm inside you would quiet down. But let me tell you something ancient and holy, something whispered in the hush of dawn by the mouth of God himself. A job may pay you in paper, but your calling, oh my sweet child, your calling will pay you in peace. That peace. It's not the kind you get when the bills are all paid and the lights stay on. No, it runs deeper than that. It's the kind of peace that sings to your soul in the middle of a storm. It's the quiet confidence that tells you, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing what I was born to do. It doesn't come in a check envelope. It doesn't sit in a bank account. It rests in your spirit like a warm fire on a cold night. It burns slow and steady, and it keeps you going when everything else says quit. A job, now it'll put food on the table. And baby, that's a blessing. Don't ever think I'm speaking against honest work. We all got to eat. But what I'm saying to you with the breath God gave me is this. If you only live for the check, you will die with a heart that never knew why it beat in the first place. You'll trade your life, your precious, glorious, only one you life, for a title, a desk, a nameplate. And at the end of the road, you'll still feel that ache, that holy ache, the one that says, there was more, there was something else. That something else is peace. And peace lives where your calling lives. You can fake a smile for your boss. You can force yourself to rise with the alarm clock. You can climb corporate ladders and even buy yourself a pretty house. But when you lay your head down at night, only your calling can sing your soul to sleep. Only your calling knows your name in the language of angels. Only your calling wraps around you like a song written just for you. Now, hear me when I say this. People will try to convince you that comfort is peace. But child, don't fall for it. Comfort is a liar when it isn't tied to purpose. You can be surrounded by soft pillows and still feel like you're sleeping on stones. You can wear fine clothes and still feel naked on the inside. You can have a full bank account and still be bankrupt in spirit. The world will celebrate your job. They'll applaud your promotions and shower you with praise when your business card gets fancier. But your calling, that thing God whispered to you when you were still in the womb, that's not about applause. That's about assignment. That's about fulfillment. That's about peace. And peace isn't always comfortable. Sometimes peace means stepping out on faith when everyone else thinks you've lost your mind. Sometimes peace shows up looking like uncertainty. But oh, baby, when it settles in your soil, when you know deep down that you are doing what God called you to do, nothing can steal that from you. Not recession, not rejection, not delay, not even failure. I've walked with folks who had jobs that paid them 6 figures and still felt empty every day. And I've seen folks with little to their name walk in the kind of joy that made flowers bloom where they stepped. The difference wasn't in the money. The difference was in the peace. The peace of knowing they were walking their God-given calling. That kind of peace comes from waking up with purpose. It comes from using your hands to do what you were made to do. It comes from opening your mouth and letting truth roll off your tongue like a river. It comes from painting, singing, writing, teaching, building, serving. Whatever it is that God planted in you. When you do that, the heavens rejoice, and your soul rests. So stop measuring your worth by your paycheck. Stop thinking your future is found in promotions. Stop believing the lie that success is the same thing as peace. You can gain the whole world, baby, and still lose your soul. But when you walk in your calling, even if your pockets are light, your spirit will feel rich. Even when the journey is hard, your heart will be steady. And child, don't be afraid if your calling doesn't come with clear instructions. God doesn't always hand you a blueprint. Sometimes He gives you a vision and expects you to walk by faith. Don't wait for the peace to follow the money. Let the peace lead you to your purpose. Let your spirit guide your steps, and trust that heaven will supply what you need. You were made for more than survival. You were made to thrive in the place where peace and purpose kiss. That's the space of your calling. That's the sweet spot of heaven's will for your life. That's where miracles happen. That's where your gifts blossom. That's where joy bubbles up from deep within, not because of what you have, but because of who you are and whose you are. So go ahead and turn down the noise of the world. Turn up the volume on your spirit. And listen, truly listen, for the sound of your calling. It may not come loud. It may not be dramatic, but it will be true. And when you follow it, even if the road is narrow, you will find something that no job can offer. Peace. The peace of purpose. The peace that passes understanding. The peace that whispers, "Well done, my child. Well done. Now listen to me, baby." Draw yourself close. Lean not just your ears, but your heart in, because I have something eternal to tell you. Something sweeter than honey and heavier than iron. You see, you've been chasing after provision like it's the prize. You've been running from pillar to post, from door to door, from one opportunity to the next, thinking the next check will calm your worry, the next job will soothe your fear, the next promotion will finally hush that voice in your soul that says, "Am I really taken care of?" But God, the everlasting, the unshakable, the rock of ages, He says something different. He says, "I am your provider." Now doesn't that roll off the tongue like thunder wrapped in velvet? You don't need the world to be your safety net. You don't need the validation of a man or the favor of a corporation to feel secure. What you need, child, is a revelation. A deep, soul-stirring bone, shaking understanding that your help, your sustenance, your tomorrow. It all comes from the one who created heaven and earth with a whisper. Don't you know it was not a company that woke you up this morning? It wasn't a boss that put breath in your lungs or gave rhythm to your heartbeat. No contract signed your life into being. No paycheck brought your mother's water to break. It was God, and God alone. See, there's a danger when you begin to trust the job more than the one who gave you the ability to work. There's a trap when you think your source is the paycheck and not the provider who owns cattle on 1,000 hills. A job is a tool, honey, not the well. The well is deeper than that. The well is invisible. The well is divine. When God said He is Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides, He wasn't speaking about just food and clothes. He was speaking about everything. Everything your soul could need. Everything your body could crave. Everything your purpose will require. Let me tell you something. There will be days when the bank account runs low, when the refrigerator hums emptily, when the mailbox brings only bills and no blessings. But if you truly know who your provider is, you will not faint. You will not crumble. You will not lose your mind or your hope, because you will remember. The same God who fed Elijah with ravens in the wilderness is the God who feeds you. The same God who made manna fall from the sky is the one who can rain miracles in your modern-day desert. He is not limited by the economy, nor hindered by inflation. He does not need approval from human resources to bless you. When He provides, baby, He does it in ways that leave people stunned and you in tears of praise. Don't be ashamed if you've trusted in the wrong things. We all have at some point. We all have bowed our heads to the altar of security, forgetting that God is the only refuge that cannot be shaken. We've all walked through the valleys of doubt, wondering if He'll show up this time. But I'm here to remind you, with the voice of every woman who ever held on to hope with trembling hands, He always shows up. Not always how we expect. Not always in the time we desire, but always in a way that teaches us trust, always in a way that deepens our dependence, always in a way that makes us say, if it had not been for the Lord on my side. You see, when you understand that God is your provider, you stop begging people to open doors for you. You stop crying when one opportunity walks away. You stop chasing after things that were never meant for you. Because you know beyond knowing that what is for you cannot be snatched, cannot be blocked, cannot be delayed beyond God's appointed time. That's a holy kind of freedom. That's the kind of strength that makes you walk through storms with your head high. That's the kind of certainty that makes you lift your hands in worship even when your hands are empty. That's what it means to be kept by God. And oh child, to be kept by God is to live in a place of holy abundance. Not always in things, but always in peace, always in grace, always in enough. You will not always see the next step, but your provider has already made the way. You will not always have the plan, but He has always had the blueprint. You will not always feel strong, but He is strong enough for both of you. He is the one who gives seed to the sower, the one who multiplies loaves and fishes, the one who said, do not worry about what you will eat or what you will wear, because He clothes the lilies and feeds the birds. And aren't you worth more than them? Yes, you are. You are the beloved, the blood-bought, the handpicked. And your Father, your holy, righteous, always on-time Father, takes care of His own. So let the world scramble. Let them chase what fades. Let them bow to false gods of status and salary. But you hold your peace. You walk in faith. You sow your seeds. You speak life. You trust. Because your provider is watching. He's counting the hairs on your head. He's catching your tears in His bottle. He's preparing the table. He's sending the help. He's moving the hearts of kings on your behalf. And He's saying, you don't have to look for a job to survive. Look to me, and you will thrive. So stand tall, stand free, stand provided for. And when fear tries to grip you, say with all the confidence of heaven, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Amen. Come closer, child. Sit under the shade of my voice, and let me cradle your weary heart. You've been measuring your life with rulers made by fearful men. You've been holding your worth up to the light of other people's expectations. And that light, oh honey, that light is too dim to reveal who you really are. You've been dancing to a tune written by those too afraid to dream, and shrinking your mighty soul to fit into spaces never meant to hold your brilliance. But God, oh yes, God, He says something different. He says, don't settle for safe when I've called you to be bold. Now isn't that just like Him? Speaking in truths so rich they taste like honeycomb. Isn't that like the Creator of the heavens and the earth to call you out, not to shame you, but to free you? The world will teach you that safety is the goal. It will tell you to avoid risk, to stay quiet, to keep your head down and play by the rules. But child, the greatest movements in history were never led by people who chose safety over courage. Faith is not found in comfort. Purpose is not birthed in the shallow waters of fear. No, it is born in the deep where only the brave dare to swim, they told you. Play it safe, they said. Be reasonable. They warned, don't get your hopes too high. But how can you soar if your wings are clipped by doubt? How can you rise if you're anchored by fear? Let me tell you something powerful. Boldness is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. It's the holy fire that says, I may be trembling, but I'm going anyway. That's the kind of fire that lit the hearts of prophets, that carried Harriet through the woods, that raised Maya's pen, that crowned Esther in the palace. It's the fire of purpose. And purpose don't live in the safety net. It lives on the tightrope under heaven's spotlight. You see, safety might keep you from failure, but it will also keep you from fulfillment. Playing it small might protect your ego, but it will starve your calling. And baby, what is life if not a great unveiling of everything God placed inside of you? What is breath if it's not used to speak truth, to shout justice, to sing love into the world? Don't you dare dim your light to comfort people who are scared of their own reflection. Don't you shrink so someone else can feel tall. God made you to take up space, not arrogantly, but unapologetically. You don't need to apologize for being gifted. You don't need to hide the fire in your bones. You were made to glow, to blaze, to illuminate the places where shadows linger. There are people waiting on the other side of your boldness. People whose healing depends on your obedience. People whose chains will break when you finally open your mouth. And if you keep playing it safe, if you keep tiptoeing when you were made to march, you will never know the joy of watching your obedience change lives. Boldness is when you walk into a room and the atmosphere shifts. Boldness is when you tell the truth, even when your voice shakes. Boldness is when you step out in faith. With no map, God's whisper. You may not feel ready. You may not have the support you want. But the anointing of God doesn't wait on a crowd. It doesn't wait on permission. When He calls you, you move. Even if you're the only one walking, especially if you're the only one walking. Look at the lion. The lion doesn't concern itself with the opinion of sheep. Look at the eagle. It doesn't ask permission to fly. So why, child of the Most High, do you keep asking others if it's okay to live your dream? Why do you keep seeking permission to step into what God already approved? Boldness is sacred. It's prophetic. It's revolutionary. It is not loudness. It is clarity. It is not arrogance. It is assurance. It's what happens when your soul aligns with the will of God, and you stop hiding behind maybe and start walking in yes. And let me tell you something else. Safety is not always spiritual. Some of the most dangerous places are the ones where you are comfortable but not growing. Some of the most dangerous mindsets are the ones that whisper, don't take that step. But baby, faith without movement is just memory. You've got to move. I know it's scary. I know your knees are knocking, your hands are sweating, your heart feels like it might jump out of your chest. But that's the sign, honey. The sign that you're not leaning on your own strength. You're leaning on God. And when you do that, oh, watch what He will do. He'll part seas. He'll bring water from rocks. He'll rain favor where there used to be famine. So I want you to write this on the walls of your hearting. I will not live my life afraid. I will not bury my calling to please the crowd. I will not choose safe when God has called me to be bold. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. Your vision matters. Don't waste another day rehearsing your fears. Start declaring your future. Start walking with holy defiance. Start showing up as the person God already knows you are. You are not too young. You are not too old. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are right on time. You are right where God wants you. And He is saying, be bold, child. Be brave. Be mine. So stand up. Throw off the cloak of caution. Silence the voice of fear. And march. Into your destiny with your head high and your spirit on fire. For the world needs your courage more than your compliance. It needs your testimony more than your silence. You are not here to survive. You are here to shake the earth. Come near, baby. Bring all of you. Your trembling hands, your tired feet, your quiet fears. You've been running in circles, chasing answers that live right inside you. And I see it. I see it so clearly. You keep asking the world to hire you, waiting on someone to pick you, to open a door, to say you are worthy. But child, don't you know? Don't you see? He already chose you. Yes, my darling, the one who hung the stars and calls each by name, He called you, before they passed out business cards, before they built buildings and called them offices, before people learned to measure you by your experience instead of your essence. He called you. You are not waiting on an offer. You are walking in an assignment. See, when man hires you, they give you a title. But when God calls you, He gives you an identity. And that identity, oh, sweet thing, it is not something that can be taken, voted on, or revoked. You don't have to chase people when you've already been chosen by God. You don't have to knock on doors He never meant for you to enter. You don't have to contort, dilute, diminish, or decorate yourself just to be seen. Because you, as you are, chosen in your flaws, chosen in your doubt, chosen in your struggle, chosen even in your silence. God did not wait for you to become perfect to call you. He called you because He already saw the finished painting when the world only saw scattered brush strokes. He saw the masterpiece in your mess. He saw the message in your madness. He saw the glory in your growing. Let me speak this loud into the valleys of your heart. You don't need to be hired to be valuable. You don't need to be selected by people who cannot see your worth. God already chose you, so stop shrinking. Stop waiting for a committee to agree on your calling. Stop thinking you're not ready, just because you don't fit into someone else's timeline. God's approval is not a democracy. Heaven does not require permission slips from earth. When He says go, you go. When He says speak, you speak. When He says build, you build. Even if your hands are shaking, even if your voice trembles, even if no one claps. Because obedience isn't about applause. It's about alignment. There is something so holy about walking like you know you've been chosen. It doesn't mean you think you're better than others. No. It means you've realized that you are not an accident. You are intentional. You are crafted. You are purposed. When the world tries to make you doubt that, remember, Jesus wasn't voted in. He wasn't hired by a board. He didn't have endorsements from the powerful. He was sent. He was called. He was chosen, just like you. And yes, they questioned Him. They doubted Him. They mocked Him. But none of that stopped the cross. None of that stopped redemption. None of that stopped the resurrection. What God has called, no man can cancel. What God has blessed, no man can bury. What God has written, no one can erase. And what He has placed inside you, that burning purpose, that holy fire, that sacred vision. It was never meant to be outsourced. It was never meant to be co-signed by man. It was meant to be carried by you. Now I know it's hard sometimes. It feels lonely, doesn't it? Carrying something inside that no one else sees yet. Living a life that doesn't make sense on paper. But that's what it means to be chosen. It means to walk roads that others don't understand. It means to carry glory in jars of clay. It means to say yes, even when you're scared, even when you're tired, even when you're misunderstood. Let me say it to you plain: stop asking for someone to hear you into a space that God has assigned you to lead. Stop looking for confirmation from people who were never meant to understand your calling. Your anointing is not up for a vote. Your vision is not on trial. You don't need a platform to be powerful. You don't need a microphone to have a message. You don't need an office to operate in authority. You just need to remember who called you. God didn't whisper your name so you could settle for crumbs. He didn't call you out of darkness so you could live in someone else's shadow. He didn't save you, mold you, fill you with promise just so you could beg for a seat at someone else's table. No, child, He made you to build the table. And when you walk in that knowing, when you really grasp that you are already chosen, you stop chasing people, you stop performing, you stop waiting, and you start becoming. You rise. You create, you serve, you teach, you heal, you change the world. So hold your head up high, straighten your back, speak with power, walk with purpose. And don't you dare apologize for being called by God. You don't need to be hired. You just need to be obedient, because the truth is, darling, the job was always in you. And now, it's time to let the world see it.